After a tenant accused the St. Louis landlord of being a bad landlord, he pulled out the video evidence that the tenant trashed the place. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of St. Louis, Missouri. So obviously, I invested in Missouri. I know that Missouri is a very landlord-friendly place, but places like St. Louis and Kansas City have these, little laws within the city limits that make it a little more difficult to be a landlord. It still is a good place, okay? Don't get me wrong. Even in St. Louis and Kansas City, it is a good place to be a landlord, but we have to deal with stuff like building inspections. We have to deal with, getting rental permits, all that nonsense that I don't think that we should have to deal with at all. So in this case, we have a case of a tenant who is claiming that her landlord's a bad landlord, that didn't do anything right, and the landlord has the video evidence, the evidence that is necessary in order to prove that, hey, guess what? The tenant is the one who trashed the place. All of the problems in this place are caused by the tenant. And you know what? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, these lies that the tenant is telling. So, it's a good example. It's a good example of the lengths that tenants will go to in order to, basically paint their landlord as an evil person, even when it is proven that they're not, okay? So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So the thing that I really like that this landlord did was that he did a move-in inspection with the tenant on video, okay? He did it on video, showing what the place looked like. And that was, it was really, really smart. You could tell this guy is an experienced landlord doing that, okay? Because this is exactly what you have to do in order to cover your butt, because they will lie. Okay, the bad tenants will lie about you and say that, oh no, this place was a disaster when I moved in and he never did any repairs. Well, in this case, the landlord is able to easily prove that everything the tenant said was a lie. Okay, now, do you as a landlord do that? Okay, you should. At least get some good pictures and videos of the place before the tenant moves in. You need this, okay? You need this so that you can, one, prove the damages that the tenant did to the place if you have to go to take them to court or if you have to go through the eviction process. And two, the tenant, you know what? They have peace of mind knowing, they should at least, the good tenants will have peace of mind knowing that you're doing your job as a landlord, okay? So anyway, let me get into this article, but before I get into the article, there is a video that goes with it, and I'll play that video for you right now.
And they gave this house a clear 100% ready to go before this person moved in.
Lee Johnson owns this house in the 3800 block of California Avenue.
I wish out to Mr. Johnson too many times.
Ashley Hickman's lived here for 2 years and claims that Johnson failed to make repairs and let the house fall into a bad condition. I called and texted Johnson to get his side of the story, but he didn't get back to us till after the story aired.
Before she moved in, everything was brand new.
So Thursday, we met up with Johnson, who says he has the video to prove the house was in very good condition and that Hickman trashed the place.
This is Lee Johnson. I just want to do a quick video, let them know that, what's here, what the condition of the place is.
The video shows the house in much better condition than its current state.
Now, obviously, let's walk through here. As you can see, you have all new blinds throughout.
After 2 years, most of the mini blinds are damaged or gone. The HVAC system was new, but Hickman claimed it didn't work. Johnson showed us a photo of a floor vent full of dirt and trash and says the tenant didn't change the filter.
Obviously, is your kitchen area. You got a refrigerator, you got a microwave, you got a little toaster thing.
Johnson blames a leak under the kitchen sink and the damage caused by it on Hickman. He points out the broken storm doors outside and the overgrown backyard, which is the tenant's responsibility to maintain. Hickman disputes his account.
I feel like everything he just say is a lie.
Johnson points out the house did pass inspection 2 years ago.
Before they give you this piece of paper that says, free for occupancy, they inspect all those things.
All right, you saw the video. Let's get into the article. This article is coming from FirstAlert4.com, and it says building inspectors check rental house after bad landlord accusations. Let's get into it. Lee Johnson owns a house on the 3800 block of California Avenue. He spoke out today and provided video to respond to accusations by his tenant that he'd been a bad landlord. He said, first of all, the house passed a city inspection 2 years ago. They gave this house a clear 100% ready to go before this person moved in, he said. Assalee Hickman has lived in the house for 2 years and reached out to First Alert 4 because she said her landlord failed to make necessary repairs and allowed the house to become almost unlivable. So yeah, rather than trying to resolve the issues through your landlord like a person with normal common sense would do, you're going to reach out to the news. And why would you do that? Okay, because attention-seeking behavior, trying to get revenge on somebody who has called you out for actions that you did take, trying to get him punished for this stuff, and you know what, maybe trying to get free rent or some kind of free something out of it. Now, here's the question for the landlord, right? If the landlord was a bad landlord and wasn't doing things right, why would they have fixed the place up in the first place? Okay, why would they have put thousands of dollars into maintaining or fixing the place up, repairing it, making it look nice? It doesn't make any sense for us to allow our own properties to fall into disrepair, because you're not going to be our only tenant. So eventually, before the next tenant moves in, we're going to have to replace and fix the stuff that we allowed to be broken. It is much easier for me to believe that, hey, the tenant destroyed this place than it is for me to believe that, yeah, the landlord just allowed this place to fall into disrepair. Keep in mind what I've said many times before. 99% of landlords are doing everything right. And when you find yourself a slumlord, a true slumlord, or a true really bad landlord who doesn't do repairs and all that, well, they're never going to have the place fixed up in the first place like this guy did, okay? They're just going to say, hey, you move in and the place, everything was broken the second you moved in. Anyway, let me continue with the article, because this guy, he has great evidence of exactly the fact that the tenant is the one who caused the problem. I reached out to Mr. Johnson too many times, she said. Johnson provided a video he recorded when he did a walkthrough on the day Hickman moved in. The video shows him walking around the house, pointing out certain features and explaining Hickman's responsibility as a tenant. Let's walk through here. As you can see, we have all new blinds throughout, he said in the video. Johnson points out that most of the new mini blinds he installed are damaged or broken. The video shows storm doors on 2 entrances were intact, but currently both are heavily damaged. Those storm doors aren't cheap either, okay? So guess what? If she had a security deposit, it's gone, okay? Just from the blinds and the storm doors alone, not including the other problems that I easily see in here. Now, what I have seen many times is, especially, certain lower income tenants, they will allow small problems, such as a small water leak that could easily be repaired. They won't call the landlord on it. Why do I know this? Because this has happened to me, okay? They won't call the landlord, and it causes extensive water damage. And that's what I believe is happening here with this guy, right? Basically, she had a lot of little problems in there for whatever reason. Maybe because she was afraid of getting evicted or afraid of, whatever, right? She didn't call the landlord and tell him, hey, I've got a small water leak here. Can you come by and fix it? Or I've got, this problem over there. Can you come by and fix it? And so those small problems become big problems. And, I know that a lot of tenants do this stuff. I know it because, like I said, I have experienced it. I'm sitting here wondering to myself, why didn't you just call me? The toilet ran for an entire month. I remember this happening at, when I owned a building in Phoenix, Arizona, where I paid the water, sewer, and trash bill for all the units in the building, right? 1 month I look up, my water bill has quadrupled, okay? And I was like, what the heck? My water bill has quadrupled in a single month. Well, the tenant basically left the toilet running for a month straight, didn't call anybody and report it. So I had to tell the landlord, hey, go to every single unit in this building and check for, water leaks, check to see what is going on. And they did, and they found this running toilet, and the tenant let the property manager know that, hey, it's been running for like basically a month straight. So yeah, like I said, tenants will allow small problems to become big problems and not notify the landlord, and then be like, oh, well, I'm living in unsanitary conditions. Another one I could tell you about is, right, I had an apartment building in Tucson, Arizona, which I also sold, but I had a really bad tenant in there, and they didn't do a good job of cleaning whatsoever. So a place that had no issues whatsoever with pests or bugs became overrun with cockroaches. So you could call the city inspector, and the city inspector would be like, hey, you are in violation because you've got all this pest infestation up in here. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Nobody ever told me about a pest infestation. I didn't even find out about it until we went through the eviction process on that tenant and found out that they basically had trashed my place and were very dirty, nasty people, and that's why there were so many cockroaches. So yeah, like I said, I'm on the side of the landlord here, and I tend to believe that his place, he keeps it in good shape. He's doing a walkthrough inspection on video, that this guy is a professional. This isn't his only property. I don't believe for 1 second that he is a bad landlord or a slumlord or whatever you want to call it. One of Hickman's complaints is that the air conditioner didn't work, but Johnson said he spent over $7,000 to install a new central heat and air unit before she moved in. He claims she never changed the filter on the HVAC system, and he provided a photo showing a floor vent that was filled with trash and dirt. Yeah. One of my big pet peeves. Now, honest truth, right? I don't expect, these are renters. Okay, low income renters, and this seems to be a single female, right? I don't expect her to replace the air conditioning filters. He shouldn't have expected that. Okay, this is just not going to happen. Instead, what he needs to do is, especially if he installed a new HVAC system in there that costs that much money, he needs to do or pay somebody to do the filter changes himself. Okay, now you're supposed to change it every month. He could at least have somebody, or he could go by at least once every 2 months to replace the filter himself. That would save him a fortune, rather than sitting there and depending on a tenant who isn't going to do it. Okay, they're not going to do it. And it'll also give you the opportunity to inspect the property, and you could see the damage, you could see the repairs that need to be done on a regular basis, especially if the tenant isn't reporting to you everything. Now, I believe you have to give the tenant a 24-hour notice before you're able to go in there and do that, but you could easily make arrangements with the tenant and go in there, do a kind of a quasi inspection, check things out, ask them if there are any repairs to be made. I'm just saying, okay, this is what I would do. Okay, especially working in a very low income area. And remember, this is St. Louis, okay? So most of the city is a very low income area. So anyway, good article. I'm glad that they got the landlord, they were able to interview the landlord. The landlord was able to basically prove his innocence and give his perspective of what's going on, because too many times when I see articles like this, it's from the tenant's perspective. Hey, this is a bad landlord, he's not doing repairs, blah blah blah, and then the landlord's like, no comment. Well, this time, you can see for yourself that, hey, landlords are not all bad, and a lot of tenants really are doing things wrong.